Today, I can identify proportional and non-proportional functions when given a real-world problem. And I can identify a function when given ordered pairs, mappings, or graphs. This is a huge one. You'll have at least 2 questions on your assessment at the end of the year. So functions are huge. We need to understand them, and they're really, really easy. Okay? So here we go. We are on number 4. Functions. Let's see here. A function is a relation, and this is the formal definition, and I know formal definition, heaven forbid, okay? But a relation in which each element of the input, which is your x values, that's also called your domain, is paired with exactly one element of your output, which is y, and that's known as your range, okay? So, to make this, what all that says is that you have x's and y's. You have ordered pairs, okay? And those are relationships, all right? Every x can only be paired with one y in order to be a function. But every x in your set can be paired to the same y and still be a function, okay? So let's look at this as we're going to see it. Examples. Here is a table. Okay, you have x values, which are your domain, and y values. This is an ordered pair, 2, 1. Here's an ordered pair, 4, 6. Here's an ordered pair, 7, 1. 8, 4. So we can write those as ordered pairs, but they're just represented as a table in this situation. Okay. So each x can only be to one y. In other words, I can't have my x's repeat. If my x's repeat, then it is not a function. And that's why I say circle them and say them, because as you circle them and say them, it will come to light that whether you're saying them twice. Now, you don't pay attention to the y's at all. Okay? Don't even look at the y's. Just cover the y's up. 2, 4, 7, 8. Did it repeat? No. So it is a function. Same thing here. Here we go. 2, 3, 2. I said 2 twice, didn't I? Therefore, it is not a function. Okay? Here we go. We have them listed as ordered pairs, which they can do, okay? So let's look at this. It says, so I said, circle the, if you can't remember, write your x and y down so you remember which order they come in. And I'll give you another hint that might help you. In the alphabet, x always comes first. Okay, that's why x is always first in your ordered pair. X is always first in your charts. It's always to the left. It comes before the y is listed. Happens every time, okay? X's are also called what? Domain, I hope you said, okay? Y is your range, and you will get much more into this in algebra, okay? So, x's, let's circle our x's and say them. 14, 8, 8. Oops, I said 8 twice. Not a function. Okay? 4, 8, 44. Yes, it's a function. Now, the y values repeat. That's perfectly okay. All right? So that's why you just want to concentrate on your x's when you're being asked about functions. A function must have all pairs of x's and y's have different x's. The y's can be the same, and we've talked about that. Now, which of the following is a function? And this is a way a question is asked many times. Okay, it's either in a graph. This is called mapping, a table, or ordered pairs. So we're going to look at this now. I wonder if you remember, how do you tell if this line, and this line, by this line, I'm talking about this one that's drawn. I'm going to try and highlight it a little better so you can see it. The line that's drawn on the graph, not the lines of the graph, is a function, and I don't know what that is. It's backwards, okay? Looks like a little snake's mouth or something. It's supposed to be pointed the other way, okay? So we're just going to ignore that. How do we tell if that's a function? Well, all we do is we take our pencil and we start here and we draw a line straight down. This is called the vertical line test. And you can tell if it's a function. Do you see when I drew this line, I only touched the line that's drawn on the graph once. If I touched the line that's drawn on the graph more than one time when I'm drawing a single line, then it is not a function. So this passes the vertical line test, therefore it is a function. And my suggestion is that you go to each single one and check them. Okay, because sometimes it says which of the following is, all of the following represent a function except. Do you guys know, what does the word except mean? It means all of the, like if I had said this, all of the following are not a function except. It essentially is meaning the word not. Which one is not a function? Which one does not represent a function? Or so you have to be careful of words and you have to understand what they mean. Okay, so we're looking at this differently, though. We are looking for which one of the following is a function. Yes, we found it, but we're going to show you how to check the other ones. Okay, this is the same thing as a table. Okay, you got your x's on the left, your y's on. F of x means y. When you get to algebra, you'll learn that. Okay, so I'm going to cover my y's and look to see that only one line is coming out from each x that's listed. But you notice that 2 lines is coming out of 3. So that means this is not a function. And I'm just going to shorthand that and put NF, okay? All right, let's look here at a table. Now this table's different. It's not up and down, but you notice the x's are on top, so that's all I'm going to concentrate on. 1, 2, 2. Oops, I mentioned my 2 twice. Therefore, it is not a function. Okay, here's my ordered pairs. 1, 1. Oops, ordered 1 twice, said 1 twice. Therefore, it is not a function. So my answer in this case would be F. A lot of times they'll say all the following are a function except, and that's the one you have to choose. So make sure you read whether you're looking for a function or not a function. Okay, let's flip the page. All right, we're going to skip this for a second, and we're going to talk about, we've been talking about the last couple of days last week about proportional versus non-proportional. And I know that it seems like, okay, why are we going over this again? Because it is a big deal, all right? There's more than just a couple of questions about proportional. Or non-proportional. They just give it to you in many different ways. So I kind of wanted to summarize this. First off, if you're filling out your mathematics chart every day, and you fill it out before you start, and please tear it out of your packet, okay? Please, please. Remember, we're going to put an NP and a P here, and this is going to be S slope, okay? So remember that your NP means non-proportional because of this part right here. It has plus or minus. P means proportional because you're only multiplying. So I kind of made it looks confusing, but it's not. Let's talk about proportional versus non-proportional. Proportional equation only has multiplication. Non-proportional has that plus or minus, okay, right here, your y-intercept, because the y-intercept is not at 0. Here the y-intercept is at 0, and that's why we leave it off, because remember, we're lazy mathematicians. You notice both of them have an M. Your M is representing your slope. So let's talk about the slope is the same as proportional. So it is always your unit rate, your rate of change, okay? And you find slope the same way, whether it's a proportional relationship or a non-proportional relationship. In a graph, use rise over run. You can use your formula for slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Where do you find that again? On your mathematics chart, your favorite chart. It's got to become your right arm, okay? In a table, you can do the points. You can also just do change in x over change in y, but you also can just put that in y equals, put your equation in, and you can find the table that matches it. Or you can, on a table, you also need to do, oh, we're just talking about slope. Okay, so you could put, these are the ways you would find slope from a table. Okay? All right, don't let me confuse you anymore. So Y-intercept, let's talk about Y-intercept. Y-intercept, regardless if it's a proportional or a non-proportional situation, is the initial value, a one-time fee, a membership fee, an initial height. I used examples like a river or an airplane, an initial temperature. The Y-intercept, okay, will be 0 for proportional. On a graph, the line will go through the origin. Well, on a 4-quadrant graph, that origin is right in the center, right there, and it can go this way, it can go this way, but it's always going to go through the origin. On a 1-quadrant graph, it's always going to include that point in the corner, okay? It's always going to go from there, and if you have to count slope and it is hitting the corner, always do that. Use it, okay? It just makes it so much simpler. If it is not proportional, okay, then you are going to have to, it's not going to contain the origin. So it's going to not go through the origin because it's going to be a one-time membership fee. You're going to have that plus or minus part, okay? In chart, it is the value where x is 0. So in other words, if you're given a graph, a chart, or I'm talking about a table, you're going to have x's and y's, and it's going to have a 0 for x and a 5 for y. Your y-intercept would be 5. In a graph, it's the y value where the line crosses the y-axis. Make sure you're paying attention. Y-axis is vertical. It's going up or down. The last thing I want to go over is how do you check in a word problem, because this is how they ask a lot of times. Which situation could not represent a proportional relationship? I could also write this as all of the following represent a proportional relationship except, okay? So since it's a not, I'm going to write not word because I want you writing not when it's a not question. That means I'm looking for, if I go to my chart, and I'm telling you, use these strategies because you get one question. I mean, what question can make or break you on this stupid test? Okay? And yeah, it's a stupid test. The number of gallons of water in X barrels with 42 gallons of water in each barrel. So each is a multiplication word. So that would be my variable barrels. The number of gallons of water in each barrel. I think this is proportional because you have 42 times x. That's all I see. I don't see any plus or minus or whatever. So I think this one is proportional. Let's look at the next one. The amount an employee who makes $8.50 per hour. Remember, per is a multiplication word, and here is your variable. So it's $8.50 per hour in h hours. So h would be your x, so that's proportional. In other words, that would be written like this, okay? The weight in x weeks of a puppy that gains, what does gains mean? As an operation. Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. It means add, doesn't it? 2 pounds per week. Per week if its starting weight is 8 pounds. That 8 is going to be your y-intercept. It's a starting point. So this would be written as 8 plus 2x or 2x plus 8. Okay, either way. All right, I've got a plus sign here. I think this one is a not. Okay, but let's check the last one. The cost of purchasing P pounds of bananas for 55 cents per pound. There it is, 55 per pound. So that would be proportional. So the only one that is not proportional is H. It's the one that contains the plus word. Okay? I think you'll have plenty of time to finish your packet today. Have a great one. We're almost there.